everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and while my comics were a little late, we're back to talk more new comic book day stuff from the week of January 1st, 2020. It's the first comic book reviews of the new year, and of course we're going to start with X-Men number 4 by Jonathan Hickman and Lionel Francis Yu. The fourth issue of a series that for me has been the most difficult. That it's because it's coming from Jonathan Hickman, who masterfully handled House of X and Powers of 10, giving us the best X-Men story basically of the past 10 years at least. And like I've said before, first issue is fine. Second issue, good world building, bad dialogue. Number 3, I just fucking hated for the most part. And so number 4, and the fact that a lot of these are suddenly getting delayed, makes me wonder what's going on a little bit. Are they trying to figure out what to do after responses, or is it just rushing to get things done and not having enough time to finish? But X-Men number 4 is the book I was hoping we would get from this series. I still feel like these are just telling us single issue stories, which is very strange to me. We don't really have a through line other than just, more setup for the new nation of Krakoa. But this one, the cover almost speaks for itself. This is about diplomacy and sending out the heavy hitters, Apocalypse, Magneto, and Professor X, basically the most powerful mutants on the planet, to talk with the human delegation in Switzerland, kind of just laying their cards out on the table, right? They've had messages sent, Charles has sent psychic messages, and he's been all over the world helping, mutants out. But after they tried to kill him, and they did, in a way, and even though he was able to come back, it's time to really kind of set some people straight. And I really dug this issue for the most part. I still feel like there's a few problems with dialogue, but this is like, my initial thoughts are, I really wish this had just been issue number 3. Okay, I want issue number 3 erased from existence. But we're not here to talk about issue number 3. But what I really love is how this is handled by the 3 characters here. Apocalypse basically is just there, in my opinion, as like almost intimidation. He doesn't need to say anything. He doesn't have to prove anything. He's just there to show like 3 very different mutants that come from very different ways of thinking. They're able to sit at the table. They're able to work together. A lot of the talking goes to Magneto, who can't help but to basically, he's not he's not going to be as nice as Charles is. He's more passive aggressive and really laying it on to the humans about what's going to happen here. And then Charles is the one, like, Magneto's bad cop-ish and Charles is good cop-ish. And, Charles is more like, hey, I'm just here to like tell you that, things aren't going to be the same, and I've rethought my dream, and, we're gonna learn. We can all learn from each other, but if you guys cross us again, there's going to be a response. And so, really, really good stuff. Mostly here. Of course, there was the preview already that came out, and this, I'm not that familiar with the character. But him and Scott coming, like, finally Scott is written like Scott. He's with some adults now, so he's acting like more like an adult, it seems. Well, he was with adults in the last issue, and that didn't change anything. But they bring them in, right? They bring them in for dinner. And the first thing I thought was, this is just not going to be what we think it is. More of the white pages that really aren't necessary. In fact, they're just really kind of annoying me at this point. They really have nothing to say except, oh, here's the menu for, and oh, some of the players that are there. Um, but they sit down and basically they run through. Well, first Charles already sees the trap. Okay, they have people trying to psychically block him from noticing what's going on, but above and below them are teams of killers to kill them if things don't go their way. So Charles sends a message to Scott and Gorgon to go ahead and just take care of this before anything happens. Just go ahead and take these guys out. Don't kill them because we still have to follow that law, no killing humans. Um, and so while this meeting goes on and these people are thinking that, well, we can do whatever we want here, we'll just send our killers in to kill these people, which is a little silly knowing that Magneto, Apocalypse, and Charles are all there. Like, I don't know what they were thinking they were going to accomplish by sending this team in. But Magneto basically sits there and sets the table conversationally without anybody having to say anything. Um, Talking about, like, believing in adaptation, honestly learning from the world. That every 1,000 years or so, humanity just has to up and destroy itself. And there's all these gaps in memories that keep having this, keeping this from being remembered. That mutants will never forget where they came from, but humans constantly do. And but even like the Wakandan guy here, you'd think that he would be more understanding of the nation that wants to be kind of left alone, like they have, and they've been, they've had people coming for them since the beginning. But even the Wakandans feel kind of on the fence about them. Also, they try to talk about the drugs. I was wondering when they were going to get around to trying to complain about the drugs and what it's worth and how, are they really necessary, like taken at the dosages that they're recommended at. I also love how the one guy keeps going like this. He's the one that's like trying to trying to like get in response to his strike team that he's getting ready to throw at them if he need be. Um, but then Magneto tells them, like, do you know how medieval societies got lead? They had to mine it from Roman ruins because the technology, the knowledge of how to do it was lost during the Dark Ages. This wasn't an aberration. You humans, through war, short-sightedness, or pure ignorance, tend to destroy yourselves every few thousand years. Look at the end of the Bronze Age, a dark age before the Dark Ages. You don't even know what caused the end of it. But there it is, yet another hole in the collective memory of man. And the guy that's got the military guys, he goes, who cares what caused the end of the Bronze Age? And Apocalypse finally speaks up and says, I was alive then, and you should care. And another guy goes, is that so? Then tell us, what caused the collapse? Me. And everything, coming out of their mouths is basically the typical human stuff in these books. And how, like, they're always going to try to work an angle to make sure that the humans are on top. One of the things I also love is when Magneto talks about what people do. And I need to get to it here. What they do to their own people. Yes, okay. He says, they're basically their plan, right? I've seen what you do here. Leverage people with debt. Make them pay to be healthy and whole. Make them pay to become educated. Make them pay you interest so that they can have a place to live. Then when you own them, you control them. I have seen what you do, and now we will do the same. But better. Better versions of a better life. Better drugs for a longer, healthier existence. And then we will take the money. The outrageous sums of money you will give us because it also means more wealth for you. And we will invest it. We will buy your banks. We will buy your schools. We will buy your media. We will buy your politicians. And then, when we have brought all the rest, we will buy you, because you have taught us that everything has a price. And we are happy to pay. Then, when we have this influence, we will use it. We will make sure that the wrong sort of people, and you know who, no longer have any economic power. We will not allow them inside our institutions because it's important they do not have anywhere to peddle their dangerous, outdated ideas. And that is how it will end, like a fire with no oxygen. And then he tops it off by saying, compliments to the chef, this really was fantastic. Brilliant writing here. This is the writing I expected from Jonathan Hickman. It's taken 4 issues to get here, and it's finally here. This feels like I'm reading something out of Hawks and Pox, and it's fantastic. And they're just sitting there, stunned. And I don't know what's wrong with my camera today or lately. It's been kind of foggy. But the look on their faces here, just that open mouth. Again, the open mouth look, except this time, like last issue, with Emma Frost being told basically she's a dirty whore. These people have just been like schooled by Magneto, and that actually has a justification. So meanwhile, Scott and Gorgon have taken care of everything, and Gorgon even has a great speech. And again, this white page pretty much is inconsequential except to tell you that Gorgon is kind of like... he's basically going to accompany anybody, any of the 3 main guys that go to the island, from the island, like Xavier and Magneto, he's coming with. And I love his speech to these guys because he doesn't kill anybody, all right? He's a guy who is, well, as you'll hear in this speech, he didn't take prisoners. He didn't do things better or different. He just killed. And I love this. This was your greatest mistake, thinking you were a warrior. Yes, you studied, you trained, you tested yourself against your fellow man, but now you know what you really are, or what a true warrior looks like. In the past, my contempt for you would have manifested itself in an uncomplicated manner. I simply would have taken your head. But these are new days, and I am led by brilliant mutants who understand war better than I ever could. I have seen the error of my ways, and now I understand. I am enlightened. I know now it's better that you live, like this, with the shame of what you are. Embrace this mercy, human, and never test my kind again. Just, from a character I really don't know anything about, that's just the tits, basically. I don't have any other, nothing is popping into my head right now. And so, Magneto tells the guy who's always touching his ears, like, hey man, let me just, clear something up for you. They're not coming. And the Wakandan guy's like, what's he talking about? Well, he had two weapons teams spirited away on the floors above and below us in case things didn't go the way he wanted. And they didn't in either case. And so they basically, now the human is basically going, you heard what they said. You heard what they're going to do. They're all thinking this is like an ultimate takeover, which they're kind of saying will be slowly happening. You know, we're just going to do to you what you do to everybody else, except we're going to make it better for everyone. We're going to do things differently, and all the people that are here right now controlling everything, you won't be in control anymore. And finally, Charles steps in. Because, this guy's starting to be aggravated and angry and getting more riled up. And so he says, we cannot trust them. How long do you think until someone blinks and this peaceful détente disappears? And Charles says, a month. What? 1 month. That's all it took you to send someone to Krakoa to kill me. It was unsuccessful, obviously. I cannot be killed. Not like that. And not by the likes of you. And the guy tries to defend him. Man, we didn't send anybody to kill you. And Magneto just jumps right in and says, it wasn't us, they say. It was them, the bad humans, they always say. Yet here they come to kill us all, Charles. And all we've done to earn it is to promise not to kill them. We even made it a law. Do you think, and then Charles says, do you think I've completely given up on my dream of mutants and humans coexisting peacefully? Do you think I don't love you? Because I do. I do. And I want you to always remember that. Someone once told me that I've spent my whole life dreaming the wrong dream, and I'll admit the last month has been something of an education. But there's a small part of me that will never stop believing in that dream. There's a part of me that will never stop believing in you. But it took only 1 month before you tried to kill me. And you were going to try again today, weren't you? But he says to him, look, if you want to be angry, if you want to lash out because we are claiming what is rightfully ours, then so be it. Just know it's the last time it ends like this. And they're like, well, what's that supposed to mean? And Magneto finally tops it off by saying, I don't think there should be any confusion. It seemed rather clear to me. Mutants have never been in this position before, behind part of a brotherhood of nations. So admittedly, we have a bit of a learning curve to overcome. But we have good teachers in all of you, and we learn quickly. Try us again if you will, but if you do, expect a response. And so finally, it looks like we're more on the offensive instead of just taking the defensive stance here and saying, well, we kind of started this whole thing a little naively. We knew that there were going to be some struggles along the way, but we didn't realize you were just going to straight up try to kill us all right away. And so now we're just going to tell you one more time, and this time for the cheap seats, can you hear me in the back? This is the last time it's going to happen like this. And so they pretty much drop the mic as they walk out the door. They've taken care of their strike teams. They're left with their tails between their legs. Now, if I know anything about X-Men history, it means that these people still won't take it very well, but I wouldn't have it any other way, actually. I mean, what else without conflict, there is no drama. And so hopefully X-Men can take a cue from X-Force and start embracing what Hox and Pox did, and maybe start following a real series, of issues that have a real plot going through them. Otherwise, maybe restart Uncanny X-Men to do that. I don't know. Because I need a real team book again. X-Force is the first real team book. Marauders is trying. Excalibur is getting there. New Mutants is a bit of a lot of different things right now. And Fallen Angels is probably going to be over soon. So, and with Wolverine, Wolverine's just a single book. And then you got Fantastic Four and X-Men, which should be great with Zdarsky behind it. But we don't really still have a really solid, just a regular X-Men team going and doing X-Men things. So hopefully that's what we see pretty soon in the future with this book. Otherwise, I don't know, This is a step in the right direction, though. The writing is fantastic. And I've always felt like the art in this book I could either take or leave. It's more about what is being said. And so in that respect, I still would like a better artist on this book. But, you don't always get what you want. And since what I wanted was good writing, then I got what I wanted in the end. So, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. You can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun to follow me there or just see when I'm posting stuff about comics, things like that. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying have a great night, and we will see you on the next comic book review. Bye.